Pain, but still time. Believe there is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. And that's the last one we've gotten like that. So I guess the conduit closed. Now the question is, who are they talking about? The bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Could it be the ETs that have made deals with our military-industrial complex? Could it be the ETs that were in touch with the Nazis and gave them superior technology? We don't know. One of the reasons we don't know is because there's been these conditioning programs. Now, let me explain what I'm talking about. In 1998, as they were clearing the Amazon rainforest, they discovered the Carubos, a Stone Age tribe. In the past, we were rushed in there, said, "Here, put some clothes on, and by the way, here's a Bible," and the tax man will be right along. But this time, we had progressed and we had become a little more sophisticated, and so we cordoned off the area and embargoed that whole area. Not to keep them in, but to keep everybody else out. We quarantined them, and then we sent in a team of anthropologists who over time allowed themselves to be seen. They'd be up on a mountain and they'd wave to them, and then they'd get a little closer, be down to the middle of the mountain and they wave at them, and then finally they're across the clearing from them and they wave at them. And they got them used, they conditioned them to the fact that they were there and that they were friends, and finally they made contact, and then, and only then, the only thing they did was give them some metal knives to improve their lot in life, but not enough that would totally disrupt and destroy their culture, because we wanted to study them to find out how Stone Age people lived. Folks, I submit to you, the same thing is happening to us. They are letting themselves be seen, they are letting themselves be known, and we are in a conditioning process so that and it's working, because in the 50s, national polls showed that virtually no one believed there was any life outside of the earth. Okay? Today, the polls show quite the opposite. Today, 85% or higher said, yeah, there's probably life out there. So that's been a very effective conditioning process over about the past 50, 60 years. Now the danger is coming in. Because now the danger is, now that we're all becoming aware that, yeah, there could be life out there, and that's okay. Now the danger is that our military-industrial complex, who is capable of pulling off events like 9/11 using non-public technology so that everyone understands that it was an inside job and we're all arguing over exactly what caused it all. What caused all the destruction of that concrete? What could bring these modern buildings down into their own footprint? What could destroy those 47 steel girders in the middle of those buildings? We argue fire, thermite, everything, space beam weapons, who knows. And all of it sounds ridiculous, and we're all fighting among ourselves and nothing's getting decided, okay? And they can use this same technology to simulate a threat from space. And this is not my theory, okay? This goes back to the early 70s when Carol Rosen, who went on to become the first woman executive of Fairchild Industries, was working with Dr. Werner von Braun, that highly decorated Nazi who came over here and became the father of our space program. And he told her back in the early 70s that the enemy du jour of today is the communists. He said, but it's all a lie. He said, when that doesn't work anymore, it's going to be terrorists, probably centered in the Middle East. He said, but that's a lie. He said, when that no longer works, and it's getting a little thin right now, isn't it? We're all kind of going, wait a minute, why are we losing all our liberties? Why are we losing our daughters and our sons over in Iraq and Afghanistan? I mean, where's Osama anyway, And so it's wearing thin now. He said the next one will be a threat from space. Exactly what Ronald Reagan spoke about in front of the United Nations. And see, that's what's kept modern presidents in line. Reagan might have been an okay guy, but they tell Reagan, listen, we've got to keep all this secret because if it all comes out, it's going to be disruption, the stock market will crash, the economy will fail, and the space aliens will come in and take over. So in other words, that keeps them in line. And as Von Braun said, it's all a lie. How do I know it's a lie? Because if the objective of space aliens was to come and blow up our cities and eat us or whatever, as in the movie Independence Day, they'd have done it long before now, okay? Well, they would have done it in 1947 when the only thing we had to fight them off with was machine guns and propeller-driven aircraft. Why wait until we have, you know, space beam weapons and, you know, space platforms, particle beam weapons, all kinds of things, lasers? Why wait until then? Nah, ain't gonna happen. But I submit to you that like the tribe in the Amazon, we're under quarantine. They let us go a little bit out. They let us get to the moon, but we hadn't gone back. And we hadn't gone anywhere else. If we had the technology to get to the moon in 1969, don't you think we could have gone to Mars by now? But we haven't. And believe me, it's not about the money. When they finally shut down the Apollo program and we didn't send anybody back out to the moon, we had 22 of those rockets, those Saturn rockets, ready to go. But we just stopped. And they tried to say, well, it's just too expensive. Well, that's like saying, well, we built this Rolls Royce, but we don't have any money for gas. Come on. Something's going on, and we're being lied to, as we always are. We are actually pretty insignificant. We are on a third-rate planet, on a fourth-rate sun, out on the outer boondocks of our galaxy. Okay? And for us to think that we are the apex of evolution is just about the most arrogant, chauvinistic thinking that I can even come up with. Okay? But things are changing. In December of 2012, our sun comes into direct alignment with the center of our galaxy. And already they are picking up radio signals coming out of the center of the galaxy on a regular basis. And even the normally conventional and far from radical National Geographic raised the question, could they be coming from intelligent sources? So things are happening out there, and if you want to keep up with what's happening, you've got to use your mind like a parachute, okay? It works better when it's open. So keep open to all of this. If you never entertain any thoughts about UFOs or about ETs and want to get straight facts, read my book, Alien Agenda. It's simply a journalistic account of everything we know from ancient astronauts, everything I've talked about, plus so much more, plus remote viewing. It's all in there. Viewing, And is it them or us when we see all this stuff flying in the skies? And now, those of you who've attended my other talks, we know that somebody's trying to rule us, right? Somebody's trying to rule and control the whole human population through secrecy and deceit. Now, we go back, we've already looked at the ancient records, we've already looked at the Sumerian tablets. They tell us that in prehistory, these ETs had colonized on the earth. And they even say, and there are people like Sitchin who try to say that they created us as a worker race. Let me clarify this. Even they themselves had the same ethical arguments that we're having today. It's not right to act like God and create something. And the counter argument was, we're not creating anything, we're just improving the breed. Whoa, wait a minute, isn't that what we do with cows and horses, sheep, dogs, cats? We breed them to improve the breed. And that's what they did. So don't get off in this thing saying that people are claiming that aliens created us. Nobody's trying to say that aliens created humans out of nothing. What they're saying is is that they took Neanderthal, they